Hey, this is Corey Feldman, and I am hanging out with Zach and Dustin on the $2 Late Fee Podcast.
Welcome to $2 Late Fee. It's Zach and Dustin here with you, and I gotta say, it's a pleasure to meet you, but we've been running in similar circles for the past several years because we've had Jameson Newlander on our show.
Oh, cool.
And then we had Matt Adler on early on.
Okay, nice. Is he still around? He's still around, Matt? I haven't heard from or talked
Matt's
to that guy in
around.
decades. Yeah, that's good. What's he up to these days?
Matt's around. He does a lot of loop groups, ADR for film and TV.
What is that? What's loop groups? I've never heard of it.
A loop group is when they hire a group of voice actors to come in and replace certain aspects of the dialogue.
Oh, so you mean like for group action, group activity, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, well, like if there's a scene in a police station, they hire a bunch of to do the voices. Something comes over the intercom,
Right.
Yeah.
Just background actors.
Yeah, fill the space, fill the audio, but it's all audio.
Right. Got it. Yeah. No, I know about looping. I know what that is. I've never.
I understand. I've been in the business longer than you've been alive. And then also Joe Dante we've had on as well.
Oh, great.
And
love Joe. Joe's a great guy.
Yeah,
love Joe. Joe's a great guy. Love Joe.
Well, we did talk about when we had Joe on. We talked the hell out of The Burbs, and then we had mentioned, The
Burbs. Yeah, it's a cute little film. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Well, but Jameson, he came on last year to obviously talk about Lost Boys.
All right.
Such a
So
good
it's
guy.
Jameson.
It's
Jameson. So it's like, hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, it's Jameson Newlander. How are you? What's going on? Yeah, great to be here. You guys are great.
That's pretty accurate.
From Joe Dante to Jameson.
You got it. Yeah,
those are very, very good.
But the one I'm really focused on with my new haircut,
going viral.
No, I've decided I'm actually going to go full Trump now. This is my thing. If you can't resist the resistance, then you might as well dive in. So I went ahead and got the Trump haircut, the Trump hair color. So from now on, ladies and gentlemen, I'm only talking like this, and you're only going to hear from me when it's going to be something really special. We're going to talk about my big projects. They've got to be the biggest. So we're going to go with Going Viral. Going Viral is going to be the greatest project. We put a lot of incredible people together. You're going to be very pleased. The best people in the world, great actors, great director, unbelievable performances. Really the best quality production you've ever seen, quite honestly. It's better than Star Wars.
Well, I got to tell you, you're not orange enough, Corey. You're not orange enough.
I'm working on my orange. In fact, I've got a big orange tree outside my house right now, and I'm rubbing them all over myself every day to get up to par. I'll be there soon enough.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, I was going to say...
It's good.
I was going to say one thing I appreciate about you, Corey, is at least on your Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it, you're always very positive and you're putting out great messages to your fans and your friends, et cetera, et cetera.
You've got to be. Somebody's got to be the voice of reason, but somebody also has to be the voice of positivity. A lot of people can be rational. A lot of people can be optimistic, or you can be pessimistic. But I believe in being realistic. And in being realistic, you've got to stay positive, right? Yeah. Because look, the world's in a dark place. We're going through a lot right now. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of struggle. There's a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen next. So what I say is just stay focused on the positive,
right?
Because no matter what, we can visualize what we want our reality to be, and we can in turn create our reality. Therefore, got to stay focused on the internal.
Totally.
Yeah, so I try to spread that message throughout my platforms wherever possible. Look, it's worked for me. I've managed to stay afloat all these years by believing in some dream. I don't know which dream it is because it gets distorted a lot, but I've got one. I've got a vision here somewhere.
It's a little dream.
A little dream. Okay.
No, but I think that's very wise. And I think because it's very easy otherwise to just spiral into that darkness where you're just like, what's the point? Why are we all here anyway? And we're just going to go down with the ship in a terrible fashion if we don't do a little manifesting.
Correct.
And like the world's been around many, many years. It's going to be around many, many more.
Right. We may not.
Ideally.
We may
Yeah,
not.
right.
Whether we
Right.
make it another day or not, that's not really up to us. But whether, what we do with our time while we're here, that's what matters, right? So you just basically got to spend all of your time focused on, trying to stay positive.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. It's
Yeah.
all we can do.
And
All we
speaking
can
of
do.
that, speaking of positivity and talking about going viral, your new movie that just comes out tomorrow. Actually, it's by the time this airs, it'll already be out on all
It'll be
platforms.
today, so we can say, "Hey, it's out
Hey,
now."
it's out now.
Out
Going
now.
viral.
Out
Exciting.
now.
So exciting. Yes, this new family film hitting just in time for the holidays. Look at that, folks. A family adventure. We can all sit around eating our vegan turkey and watching a nice, safe family film.
Well, Todd Pringle, the writer and producer of the movie, had been in contact.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of that dude. He'd
No.
been around
Me
for
neither.
like 3 years ago. He approached Dustin and I, and he's like, "Look, I got this great project. You guys are super cool. I love your podcast. I want to just keep you posted on it." And here it is
Oh,
today.
wow. Look
so-
at that. See, now that's a dreamer. That's a dreamer.
Right.
A dreamer who makes their dreams into a reality because they believe in it so much. They go out there and they start spreading it like this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Setting everything up now. And, there's a lot of power in that. People don't realize the power in that, but we really can make our reality. We can form our reality through our dreams, but we have to be persistent and consistent to
Right.
make it actually come to fruition. And a lot of people don't have the consistency to stick with it. A lot of times people are afraid of their own success. And what does that mean? That's a very big thing to tackle. Like, what do you mean I'm afraid of my own success? When you tell people you could be anything you want, literally from the president to the president of your bank, you can be anything you want to be, but you have to believe it. That's the key. Because if you don't believe it, how is anybody else going to believe it? And if you believe it enough, you can convince people of anything,
Right.
but you've got to believe it. That's
Right.
the key. When they see that look of determination in your eye and that certainty in your eye, then people tend to go along with it.
So when are you doing life coaching lessons?
Never. Never. I mean, I do this for my friends. I've been the world's therapist for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Every girl I know, every guy, everybody calls me up like, "Corey, I got a problem. What do I do about this? What do I do?" And I give it out for free. I don't try to charge money for advice.
Right.
I get it wrong sometimes too. So, being able to not charge people affords me the ability of being wrong once in a while. If I was charging them, I'd have to always get it right, and that's near impossible.
Well, as I say to my son, there's no such thing as perfect, but you can just try. You just try.
Exactly.
Right?
That's it. We do the best we can. So yes, going viral. It's a great movie for the kids. It's a family film. It's a fun adventure. It's not an Academy Award winner. This is not on Golden Pond or Casablanca. But it is a fun family adventure movie that's got a great throwback for people who are from the '80s. I've seen a tremendous response to the trailer. Great trailer, by the way.
Yeah.
They did a really good job putting it together, and people are really excited from the trailer. And and the response has really been overwhelmingly positive. People really love the idea of this, going back in time, throwback like an '80s hot tub time machine without the hot tub.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's
A
like
family-friendly hot tub time machine.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, we don't ever address actually going back in time. There is no time travel element to this film.
No.
So let's be very clear about that. It is literally, a sci-fi, and it's not weird science.
No.
It's a sci-fi type movie. But the thing is it's played very much as if, okay, this is an '80s movie and this is the way it was. And for those kids who are watching it today that were not around in the '80s, they won't even get why it doesn't make sense to people who actually lived in the '80s, because they're
Right.
going to go, "Oh, well, of course you go viral, and of course you got followers, and of course you get, little handheld things that you can post videos on." Like that to them won't make sense, but to people in the '80s that are, your age are going to go back and they're going to watch it and they're going to go, "Wait a minute. this isn't how it was at all. It wasn't like this. We didn't have that technology then, which is why I say it's kind of like an alternate reality.
Totally. That
You
that's
know,
what I said that to Dustin the other this morning actually. I said in my opinion it felt like an alternate reality, a mashup of a lot of different decades, which I really
that's
dig.
right.
I think
And
it's
it's
a
an homage to,
totally.
those types of buddy movie, 80s films. And the two kids who star in it do a great job of being that kind of two Corey's chemistry of 80s buddy movies that everybody knows and loves.
I don't think anyone can capture the two Corey's chemistry.
Oh, that's true.
I mean,
But
really.
Yeah.
But I will say this movie's super fun. We have seen it. You are objectively the best part of this movie. I'm not even blowing smoke. I kept saying, "Where is Corey?" And then you appeared. It was very, very, very welcome.
Thank you.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I just mean like, we knew you were in it. We were just like, where
Yeah,
are
waiting
you?
for the pop up. Yeah, I mean, look, it's obviously I'm not the star of the film. It was I only came and did a couple days on it, but I try to bring my A game, whatever
Yeah.
I do. And I think the character in some ways is a throwback to a lot of my characters. I wouldn't say it's specified to one of my characters, but it would definitely be an homage to kind of maybe a myriad of my characters thrown together and wrapped into one guy. Because there's little elements of being the kind of outlaw, hero, the anti-hero, like Edgar Frog. There's a little bit of the wisecracker, mouth kind of thing. There's a little bit of the attitude, like the Burbs, like I don't give a crap. There's kind of all those
Yeah.
little elements thrown in there, wrapped into one character. But overall, look, he's an aged out dude who, if you try to put a guy today, who's a modern gamer, and you show him games from the 90s and
Right.
say, here you go, he's going to go, sure, no problem. But you try to show a guy from the 90s the games today, and he's going to look at it and go, I don't know what to do with this. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where we're at is he can play anything, sure, but he doesn't bother with the modern day stuff. He
Right.
likes Donkey Kong, he likes the old school stuff that we all know and love. But playing this high tech virtual reality stuff is just, it's a little bit over the edge for him, which I think is fun. To kind of, it kind of, like all the dads, in the room will relate to it. Like, okay, I don't really understand this stuff, but I'll give it a go.
Well,
Yeah.
and I got to say too, I appreciate there's like a little homage. You're wearing a T-shirt at one point. I won't give it away, but it is an homage to one of your other movies you've done.
Many T-shirt. Every T-shirt every time we see you, you've got a very good wink, wink shirt.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
You didn't realize you were wearing a Fratelli shirt at one point?
I mean, I might have realized that. I don't know.
Okay.
I know that there's
Sorry.
I know there's certainly a Goonies poster in the background of one of
Yeah,
the scenes, but I mean, I think that all plays to the 80s. Hey, we're in the 80s. There's
Totally.
Yeah.
The Pac-Man computer light, which I remember many people
Love that.
had on their
Yeah.
desk. Little things like that you see laced throughout the movie that makes it fun.
Well, your character, and unfortunately, if you go on IMDb and you look at your character's name, it kind of spoils who you are. But there's a big video game reference throughout the whole thing. Were you a gamer back in the day when you were a kid?
I still am a gamer. I've
right.
always been a gamer. Yeah.
What are some of your favorite video games that you like to play back in the day?
Oh, well, really, Dragon's Lair and Space Ace were my two favorites.
Hey.
Really?
The late 80s, yes.
Those were hard to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haim was the Space Ace guy. He was very, very into Space Ace. He actually wanted to make it into a film, and he wanted to play that character,
Oh
which
my
he would have
God.
been perfect for, by the way.
Totally.
Yeah, that was like one of his dreams, was to play that guy. And I always kind of, went towards the Dragon's Lair. I liked being Dirk the
Yeah, Dirk the Daring.
Dirk the Daring, right? And I could never get. Oh my God! And it wasn't me. Like, I was actually pretty good at the game. I could follow the clues, I could follow the hints, but the damn computer was always. There was always a problem with the disc.
Right.
So you'd make the right move, but all of a sudden it would throw you off anyway, and you'd be like, "What the hell? I know I did it right.
Yeah.
Why is the controller not receiving it?"
Right.
You'd get so angry, so angry. Yes. So that was, I guess, my ire, and yet my favorite. I just like the fact that it was an actual cartoon animation. The best graphics, so far ahead of its time.
Totally
Nothing
agree.
else like it existed. But then when you go to the other stuff, like the old school stuff, like on Gremlins, we used to play Food Fight. That was
Oh,
like
really?
that was the machine that they had. Yeah, and me and Zach Galligan would do. It was Burger Time and Food Fight. Those were the two games
Yes.
that
Yeah,
they had,
dude.
and I don't know if you remember those, but I
Oh,
played
yeah.
those a lot. And then in Amblin, when I was working for Spielberg on Goonies, and I think on Gremlins too, I know he had an arcade there where he had the Indiana Jones game, the
Yes.
Temple of Doom game, which was really good. So I used to
Yes.
always go in and play the Temple of Doom video game. Loved the original Star Wars game, the one
Yeah.
with the little house that you would get into, and you'd play the original Tron game,
Oh,
Centipede. I was always big on Centipede, except when I was a little kid, I'd always get my skin stuck in the roller ball and it hurt.
We just heard
Um,
that recently too from another friend, and we were like,
that's funny.
"What's wrong with your hand? Why is your
Exactly.
skin always getting caught in the ball?"
And then as far as home games, I mean, look, I started on Super Mario Brothers. I was a
right.
big Super Mario NES guy,
Of course.
and then moved to Nintendo 64 and did Mario 64 with
Little
that
Mario
one.
Kart, yeah.
Yeah, little Mario Kart. And then eventually my big game became Grand Theft Auto. That's the one that
Oh,
moved me
yeah.
into the
Yeah.
modern times. And I still my kid plays it constantly, and I'm real excited waiting for part 6 to come
Yep.
out. And I'm
Yep.
hoping there's a VR element so you could actually jump into the game, which would really make it cool.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
I got to tell you,
So
for people that live in the Los Angeles area, there's an arcade called Neon Arcade in Pasadena, and you can play all the.
really,
Yeah, you can. They have Dragon's Lair there. You pay like a flat fee, and you can play unlimited plays for an hour. It's amazing.
you know what else? They've got machines now, and I actually was supposed to get one 2 Christmases ago, or I think it was 2 Christmases or 2 birthdays ago, back when I was married. But my wife had been talking to this guy who they were planning on giving me this game that we met at one of the signing conventions that I did. And he made these video games, which were really nothing more than a nice shell that he built himself
Yeah.
that he would design for whoever. And it was a motherboard and a keyboard and a TV monitor. And the way they set
Yes.
it up, it
That's
looks like a
awesome.
real stand-up arcade game, but what you have is like 2,000
Yes.
game choices.
Right.
Any
Mm-hmm.
game that's ever been made,
Yep.
including Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. They're both in there. And that's why I wanted it so badly because you could do that or you could go back and play, remember the Paperboy? That was one of
Paper.
my other favorite ones.
Yeah,
Remember
Paperboy.
that one?
totally.
Love Paperboy.
Riding the bicycle and throwing the newspapers
The
in people's windows.
handlebar, yeah, the handlebar
Yes.
controller was so rad.
Love it.
Did you not get that machine? You didn't get it.
I didn't get it. I
Oh,
didn't get it. So
why
I'm
Oh,
not?
you
I
got to get it.
well because the guy that was supposed to make it for me originally, okay, was like, oh, these games are $2,000 to get this, to get everything in it, 2,000, 2,500. We're like, yeah, we're not going to spend
No.
quite that much.
No.
We're looking at like maybe like 1,200. We can take, and he had different versions. There was like a really big one. That was the $2,000 one. It was called, whatever, Games 2000 or something.
Right.
And then there was like a smaller one and then like a tiny one. And my space that I have isn't that big. So we needed the smaller one. We asked him for the smaller one. And then he just kind of kept saying, oh, I'm building it. I'm building it.
Oh,
It never got
no.
built. It never got finished.
Man.
And bottom line is we got everybody to put their money together. We had the money and then it never came. So they ended up just buying me something else with the money. And yeah, it's very, very depressing. I
Well-
never got that game. So yeah, I'll probably end up at the Neon Arcade if I can't get the game thing I really wanted.
I'm sure
should.
somebody will listen to this and
There
connect,
you go.
because I'm sure one of our listeners
Things happen.
makes those
I
things.
have the
All of
one.
a sudden, an original Dragon's Lair game
Yeah,
is going to
yes,
end up
yes.
on my doorstep on Christmas morning. Thank you in advance. That's right.
Dustin is a really big fan of a movie called A Dangerous Place that you did in the
Yes.
90s. So,
Yeah.
and from those that don't know, it's like a Karate Kid, like an homage, like a tribute. It's definitely in that.
Or you
vein.
just call it the B movie version of Karate Kid.
Why not?
That's
Yep,
probably
yep.
the best way to put it.
Were you
Yeah.
were you a martial artist back in the day?
I was not, but I learned how to be for that film. I actually started on Goonies doing martial arts. We used to all go actually and take classes with Randy, who was the stunt double for John Matusak. So he was also
Yeah.
also played on the Raiders with John.
Oh, yeah.
Big,
Wow.
huge guy.
Wow.
Awesome.
He was kind of like his understudy in the team. and then ended up being his double and understudy on the movie. So he came with, and he was really nice guy, super nice guy. And he would say, "Hey kids, I teach, I think it was Taekwondo, and I have a class, and I'd love to give you guys all free classes." So we started going as a group,
Okay.
to go check it out. And I think we went 3 or 4 times. And then I found out that, a lot of Michael MJ's choreography was based in karate,
Oh,
which I didn't really realize until I started getting into the moves, and I realized how similar it was. And that was a great connection for me. So when I started visualizing myself doing, this, a
yeah.
lot of that
Oh,
kind of stuff,
totally, totally.
there's a lot of those moves that he's doing with his hands and his arms and the stances and things like that are taken right out of poses and stances from karate. So I
Yeah.
started learning all that. And then I kind of, obviously grew and developed in my choreography, and always kind of kept karate and stunt fighting and stuff like that as part of my, my repertoire of things that I was doing.
Right.
And then eventually I realized that it could be worked into different things. And I started taking jobs that required more and more of, the physicality, that being a big challenge to do a dangerous place. And I enjoyed it. I think I did about a month of hardcore training before the film and learned a lot of really good, stunts and moves and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
now, yes, I know how to defend myself. My kid is a mixed martial artist himself.
Oh,
He
nice.
trains at all the UFC gyms and stuff like
Oh,
that. So he's
wow.
actually the further developed version of what I could have been, I suppose.
Well, I guess you have Ted Jan Roberts to thank as well for being a good
There you
partner.
go. How's he doing? Is he still making movies?
We are on a quest to track him down because I last we heard he's in New York somewhere, so not
There you
sure.
go.
Got
Yeah, working on Wall Street, right?
Yeah,
He's
right,
accountant.
right.
You little punk. There's no rules out here. Playing my game now.
Let's play.
It's really an honor to have you on the show. I guess we'll
Thanks,
meet you
man.
we'll meet you at the arcade sometime, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you out there. Right on, man. Well, enjoy the movie. Going viral.
Going
There you
viral.
go.
Thanks, Corey.
Exactly.
Thank you
Yeah.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
God
Corey.
bless you guys. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a good
Be
one.
well.
Thank
You
you.
too.